How's it going, everybody? Nice sunny day in March here. Decided today would be a good day to fire up my C10, which has been sitting here for at least a year. It's a good running truck. It just, I don't have that much use for it right now, so it kind of sits around for like a year or two, and then I do something with it. Sits around some more. So today I feel like is a good day to get it running. It's got the inline 6 motor, which is, I love this motor. Always fires right up. I'm sure it'll take some cranking. Usually the fuel pump's really weak the first couple times you go to start it. I have no idea what it has for fuel. Need to throw a battery in it, and gonna need some wind in some of these tires, but shouldn't be too big of a deal. So starting off, we're gonna grab a battery and then check some fluids on it. All right, so we're starting off good here with way too big of a battery. This battery's out of my SA400 there. But I mean, the cable's reach, so that's what matters. Probably have to pull that out of there before I drive it around. Radiator has pressure and it has some decent looking fluid. Next is oil, which is, still looks pretty good actually. It's a little over, so let's check that out. Okay, so I wiped off the stick and checked it again, and it is way over full. You can see there's the full line, that's where it goes. Also smells a lot like gas, so that's great. Really don't feel like climbing under this thing to change the oil, but might have to, because that's a lot of gas. So well, that'll be a later problem. We're gonna have to get jacked up and get under there. Nice big old mud bee's nest on the exhaust. Let's check the master cylinder here, which we're gonna need the Leatherman for. Oh, still got brake fluid, that's good. Actually redid all the lines on this just a few years ago. Or at least most of the lines, that is. All right, well, probably gonna have to go ahead and change the oil on it. I don't even know if I have oil here for it. But before we go ahead and do that, I guess we'll just see if it cranks a little bit. You can't see down in there, but it smells like fuel. It smells like very old fuel. So this door latch is screwed up, so I think I left this wing window open so I can reach in here this way. I'm gonna put you down to bang on this door. All right, yeah, door's not the easiest thing to open up, so just reach through the wing window there and grab the latch. Actually, now we'll just go ahead and put the window down. You can kind of see the interior of this thing. This cab's really rough. This rocker's gone. Cab corner's starting to go gone, but the real problem is up here on the roof. This roof's just trashed. It's got a thick layer of Bondo on it, and the drip rail's just gone. So that's why I haven't really done a whole lot with this truck. I kind of decided I need a cab. Seat's pretty trashed and full of rat poop. There's a snake skin there. I know there's a snake skin up under, or at least there used to be a snake skin under the dash, so we're gonna have to check before I crawl in here, make sure we don't have a friend living in here, because there's plenty of mice in here, and I guess that's what he's feeding on. Still has a stock tank, which I cleaned a few years ago and lined with that red coat stuff, so that should be hopefully still good. Is a 3-speed on the column, so that's in neutral, and we'll just reach over and see if it'll bump. Nothing, and I know that battery's good, so let me screw with the connections a little. This terminal's also broken in half, so that doesn't help anything. And it does have a new starter, so that shouldn't be an issue either. Well, new starter like 3 years ago. Oh yeah. All right. There went a big chunk of Bondo off this door. This door's really messed up, which sucks, but oh well. This is a step side truck, which is pretty cool. Short bed step side. That's the only thing that makes it of any value, really, because of the short bed 2-wheel drive trucks are kind of rare. Not rare, but less common. especially a step side, which I really like this bed. I think it's really cool. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to crawl underneath of it and pull that oil out of it and try and scare up some new fresh oil for it. All right, well, we're airing up this one tire, which has seen better days. I'm hoping this thing will take some. I do have some spare tires I can throw on it if I need to, though. Sounds like it might be off the bead. That guy's off the bead, so it won't take any air. At least not while it's sitting on it. Maybe if I jack it up, I can, kind of move the tire around some and get it back on the bead. But this thing's not going to be any fun to jack up because it's out in the mud. So it's tempting to just grab it with the forklift, but I don't want to mess up this front end by accident, so I don't think I'll do that. So guess I'll drag the floor jack out here and we'll go from there. Okay. Thankfully, just jacking this thing up was enough to get some air in this tire to take. So I think that tire's pretty trashed. So I do have some different ones I can throw on it. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe not. If this holds for long enough, I'll be happy. So, guess next I need to go ahead and drain this oil out of it. So while it's jacked up still, I'll grab some jack stands and crawl underneath of it. And we'll go ahead and do that. All right, so somehow I squeezed myself under here without a jack, and currently waiting for that oil to drain out so I get a nice little break. All right, now that I've drained the old oil out of it, we've got some fresh 30 weight going in it. Thankfully, I had that around my shop so I didn't have to run out. Not exactly sure how much this thing takes, so we're just going to have to watch the dipstick as I pour it in, I guess. I think 4 quarts will get us hopefully close enough. All right, so this thing takes 5.5 quarts. I had 4 quarts of SAE 30. Definitely didn't just mix in, a 1.5 quart worth of 1540. Definitely went out and bought the right thing. Anyway, I'm still waiting for that to show up on the stick. It's got to drain all the way down through the head into the oil pan. So the stick's still reading really low, so we're going to wait a second until that oil kind of flows around, especially with this engine being cold. So I also think this is a 250 inline 6, and then it is a, like I said, 3-speed on the column. Yeah, not a very interesting drive line to most, but I really like it since it's the 3-speed in the column. You don't really see that. And this motor's a tank. It's been through a lot. I've had this thing for like 10 years, and it's just been a farm truck the whole time. So I have a lot of respect for these motors. So I'm going to pull the stick, hope that shows up with oil on it, and then we're going to go ahead and start trying to start this thing. All right, so finally I have oil showing up the dipstick. We're going to go ahead and close the choke off here. Which is actually still properly hooked up, so I'll go into the cab. Okay, well, that doesn't want to close, of course. All right, that's sort of closed. No idea what fuel's in this thing, if it has any at all. We're gonna go ahead and just start cranking on it and see if it'll pop off. Nothing yet, and I don't see anything in the filter. So, that's not good. Like I said, this fuel pump was always really weak on this truck when you first started it, so might dump a little bit of fuel down in the carburetor if I can find some, and we'll try that. All right, so found a little bit of 2-stroke fuel here. We're gonna see if I can fill the bowl up so that this thing runs long enough to draw fuel out of the car or out of the tank. All right, that was a lot. actually getting some down the vent into the bowl, hopefully here, instead of just dumping it right down its throat. Still a lot going down its throat, but whatever. I don't remember it ever smoking that much, but maybe that's the thing it does now. Oh, it's dumping fuel out of the carb too. Huh, alright, well. So, good news and bad news. Bad news is the float looks like it's sticking and it's dumping fuel right onto the mud bee's nest in the exhaust. Good news is we have fuel coming up into the filter, so that means there's fuel in the tank and it's, you know, pumping it like it should. So, also bad news is it's smoking a lot, way more than it ever did before. So, you know, like I said, it has been sitting, so what do I expect? All right, so I fired it up again, smacked the float bowl, the carb a few times with my Leatherman, and it stopped dumping fuel out, which is good. Still smoking a little bit, but it's clearing up. But it is idling, which is nice. And it's definitely pumping fuel. So, my book, that's a success. Oh, there it goes. Probably should shut it off. Oh, maybe I'll smack the float bowl. That's like a lot of fuel now. Okay, so smack the float bowl around some more. It seems like it only wants to stick when the truck sits there and idles for a while, so maybe I just won't do that. So we're gonna go ahead and see if it'll pull on out of here. We're gonna go ahead and set this switcher down so I don't have to sit in rat turds, ideally. All right, so believe it or not, the parking brake actually still works, which is pretty nice. But here's kind of a better view of the truck. From like back here, it really doesn't look that bad, but once you get close, you can see just how bad that cab really is. Also, I said I'm not going to let it sit here and idle. But seems like the float's at least not sticking for this second, so that's good. And the battery seemed like it stayed there, which is also good. So, maybe I'll take it for a little spin. All right, well, it's running like crap, but it's moving for the first time in like a year or two. I don't remember exactly. This thing's right in my way, which is really annoying. Generator's not charging, and it's starting to run a little better. With this thing only being a 3-speed, you can really only drive it in first on the farm. Any higher gear, and it just bogs out on you. See if it'll make the hill. This thing's really annoying. All right, well, I made it up the big hill, so that's the good part. And it still has brakes, which is also good. Horn doesn't work. No power steering on this thing either, but thankfully it's got a gigantic steering wheel. So, made it to the house, which is good. And I'm gonna go get some lunch. Well, seems like I lost my clutch, so let's shut that off and check that out. So, that linkage is right there. And right down there, it looks like it broke. So that's cool. Maybe I can get that. I think I can get that right back in there, though. All right, so got the spring back in place. So that end of the spring was fine. That end we just bent a new end on, or bent this coil out, and then put a zip tie in the hole to make up for the length difference. All right, so I've been driving around a little more. Seems like my temporary clutch fix worked pretty well. So I'm gonna call this video a pretty good success. Got it running, decent. It needs a full tune-up before I ever do it, put it on the road or do anything like that. But it's good to be able to drive this thing around a little bit. A lot better than just seeing it sit there. So thanks for watching, guys. Catch me on the next one.